Well, welcome, good afternoon, or good morning still to our podcast community. In the house, we have one of Jim's buddies. Jim said, I got to get Ernest on the podcast. And I said, yes, for sure. He knows his way around Kennesaw and he knows his way around building relationships. So, Jim, you introduce yourself to our guests, and then we'll have Ernest do name, what company you're with, and who you serve.
Okay, well, if you're not looking at it and you're listening, it's Jim Raps with Ridgely Commercial Cleaning. We service the commercial space. So if it's a commercial building, office, facility, whatever it is, we clean it. We do it all over the state. It doesn't have to be just in Kennesaw. And that's what we do. We're commercial cleaners.
Awesome. Everybody needs a clean work environment. So Ernest, Jim picked you out of a bunch of people. So I hope you feel special today because he could have picked anybody, but he picked you to be a guest. So tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Well, thank you, Pete. Thank you, Jim. Jim has always been very helpful, but I am Ernest Harris, and I am the owner of Elm HVAC. We are a residential and commercial HVAC company, and we service everything for the greater Atlanta area with all of your heating and cooling needs.
That is awesome. I know, Jim invited Ernest, and I know Ernest from his grassroots days of building his business from one client at a time or customer. So I want to ask a question just to start us off. Tell our viewers, and we'll go to Ernest first, what is establishing relationships? How can a younger person, let's say they're 25 and they're starting out, what would you tell a younger person the value of relationships and how that helped you build your business?
Well, that's a good question. Establishing relationships was what I had to learn it's not all about the money. Everybody wants to make money. Don't get me wrong. Everything revolves around the money. But establishing a relationship was, for me, when I got into networking, it was more so being able to go to these different relationships for advice, especially like Jim has been in the game for over 40 years. They have a wealth of knowledge, and one question could change the dynamics of your company. And being able to pick up the phone and having someone trustworthy with you, what I mean, you build these relationships, and they be turning into lifelong friendships. And it's just, the money eventually comes out of that, but the relationship is probably the most priceless part of it, because it's, when you build trust with these customers, and then when it comes to like a referral, the customers know that they're not getting a referral from just any Jane or John Doe. It's coming from a credible source. So the relationships is more valuable than anything. The money is to come. The relationship is more important than anything.
That is really good advice, because I think when we first start out, if we chase the dollar, then it chases us, and that's not a good thing. So Jim, you've been in B&I for 12 years. You value, obviously you're doing it because you see value coming out. You have a room of 70 relationships. What does it mean to you, and how you value that structure of how relationships are working for you in your business?
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking about when Ernest was speaking. So one of the things that B&I does give you is it gives you a room full of people that are, for the most part, professionals at what they do. When I started in this industry in 1976, I didn't know anybody else in this business. And of course, that was the days when you just had landlines and answering machines. There weren't any cell phones, or there wasn't any internet or any of that. So, I just learned the hard way. There was nobody to teach me. And one of the things that's really cool about this is some of us older folks get to help the younger ones when they come in, mentoring. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a mentoring session at 1:00 with a new member today. It's just a lot of great resources, and I hope I've been able to help a few people. But you know what? It goes the other way too. I've said this before, but Jeff Dax has been very helpful to me, and he's younger than I am, but he's a very smart guy, and he was in BNI a lot longer than I was. Richard Hunt is another one who has been a big help to me in learning the ropes in BNI and understanding what it's really for. You know, the people that come into the chapter or come into the room, like the drive-bys, they don't get much out of it because they're looking to take. You know, we had a gentleman visit 2 weeks ago, and he emailed everybody in the chapter. At least I think he emailed everybody, because he emailed me. And it's just, you know, don't do that. It's giver's gain, and you come in and you give, and it does come back to you. Like Ernest said, we all want the money. That's why we're there. That's why we do what we do. But if you look to give first, you get plenty back. And I think that the relationships are huge.
Yeah, I love that when you say the takers versus the givers. You know, when a taker is emailing everybody, a giver is saying, let me introduce you to Ernest. He does this, and he does it in the Kennesaw area. You need a good resource. I've known him for 10 years, and he's going to be a trusted relationship that'll help you. Because I guarantee you, if my heating and air system goes out on Friday night, you don't want to be Googling an HVAC person. If you don't have a relationship, you're either going to pay the highest price, or you're not going to even get any service, because who the heck's going to come to your rescue on a Friday night unless you have a deep, true relationship with somebody like Ernest? I mean, you're just not. I'm sure, Ernest, you could probably tell us 10 stories of people that you've helped in your BNI chapter that you wouldn't help just anybody calling out of the blue, but you know them. You have a relationship built.
Right. But it goes even deeper. It goes even deeper than that.
Okay.
Because, you know, and that's what we're all looking for, right? So if I was to say in our group of 70 people, do I want to provide cleaning service at any of their places of business? If I was being honest, I'd say, no, I don't. I want them to trust me enough to refer me to their client base. I want them to trust me enough to refer me to others. It's that second tier, third tier, all those things that combine. That is important. So in BNI, we say we need to know, like, and trust you.
Yeah.
And if you can get that little trifecta going, then you get a steady stream of referrals that come in. And as I've said before, right, Ernest, referrals beat the crap out of leads any day of the week.
Yep.
They do.
You know, you have a guy in your chapter, Todd Lesson. And I remember when I visited a couple months ago, I didn't know Todd because he came in after I had left. But you said, hey, this is a guy to know. All of a sudden, he was on your podcast. I remember after talking to him, he moved to Atlanta, didn't know anybody. And he said, you know what? I got to develop relationships, local relationships. And so he plugs into BNI. Well, he refers a guy. They were both on the podcast. He refers a piece of business that's off the chain. My friend that got the referral, the largest piece of business he's ever gotten. And Todd's reputation closed that deal in 30 minutes. And the number would blow your mind. But it was Todd saying to his client, hey, here's a guy I think can fix your problem. And sure enough, they hook up, businesses transact.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to Mike Apolito, not going back, a girl called me and she goes, hey, my such and such is out. You have a good mechanic, because Hardy Ford is not going to get to it for 4 days, and I got to leave my car there now. I said, well, you got to go to Mike Apolito because he's right down the street. So all of a sudden, Jim referred me. I had forgotten about how close Mike was. Jim actually took me down to Mike's place, fixed it the next day. My roof's fixed because it's raining like crazy for a couple of days. I parked my car at your house, Jim. I mean, that was
Well, yeah, Ernest, what he's talking about is his sunroof broke. So we had to park his car in my garage overnight. So it was raining that night. But when you saw me smile, it's because I love the way you say people's names.
Yeah, because it's Mike
Mike
Apollonia.
Apollonia.
we won't say what I was backing out of his garage, Ernest, and I tear up the monitor thing. So
Yeah, he
Jim
did
jumping out of his car because the garage door won't go down because I turned it too close. I heard it like a sound. I thought maybe I scraped the side. No, I just I tore the sensor.
Yeah, the sensors. So Ernest, about a month before that, I had the Helix garage doors out to put two new garage door openers in, and they adjusted the sensors down the bottom, all that stuff. Pete just ripped it right off.
I heard it and I was going, damn, I probably scraped my car. But I didn't realize I hit the sensor. Yeah.
You have to be the most dangerous man on the road.
That's a testimony, just so our viewers know. Jim is 5 minutes from me, maybe 7 minutes. So when I had called a couple people here, I said, look, my sunroof isn't working. It's raining. Like I can't have a bucket of water in my car. So I called Jim up. He goes, hey, just bring it down, put it in my garage. Then I'll take you to Mike the next day. So sure enough, it rained like cats and dogs. I mean, it was pouring. My car would have been flooded because I asked the people out here, they go, we can't put you in my garage. I mean, they have 15 garages here. Oh, no, we can't do that. You have to sign a document. I said, forget that. Then I said, do you have a tarp? They go, oh, no, we don't have a tarp. That's when I called Jim. Of course, he opens up his garage, pulls his truck out. I get in there. My car's safe. And we go down. Mike fixed it. I'm telling you what. Calls the next day. Mike was out of town, leaving. And so I forget the lady that runs it. She calls, goes, you're fixed. I mean, it was done. Like the next day. Jim takes me down there, drops me off. So I think what it is relationships matter. But let's get back to Ernest. Ernest, you've built up a successful HVAC business. What would you say if you had to talk again to a younger Ernest? What would be the one thing you would tell that person to focus on as they're building what you know now versus, 20 years ago?
That's a good question, Pete. 20 years ago?
Well, if I could jump in, Ernest's story is a good story. He's comes from a family of his trade. So you got a good story from coming from another state, Indiana, I believe.
Yeah.
And starting this up by yourself here is pretty cool.
Yeah. Coming out of Indiana, actually, my family is in HVAC. And it was something that I knew of. I just didn't want to have any parts of it. I knew they did it. I just didn't really want to do it. And then just to be even more honest about it, they were throwing my grandfather a birthday party. Mm-hmm. And one of my older cousins, who's into it more heavily than everyone, he just wouldn't leave me alone that particular day. And I'm gonna tell you what caught my attention. And so I always say the money situation. I'm telling you what caught. He pulled up in this. I think it was a drop top. It was a Corvette. What caught my attention was it didn't have any. In your truck you have the door locks on there. It didn't have no door locks. It was infrared lights. I'm like, what are you doing? He said, I keep telling you need to go into HVAC. So I got back from the party. Got back from the party, and he kind of guided me to go and get into it. And then I started getting into it right in 2009, and I just never looked back. I ended up loving it. But if I could have told myself something 20 years ago, I would have told myself to kind of be patient. I would have told myself to don't just necessarily get into it for the money. Like, I don't get me wrong, it's been a blessing to be into HVAC and just to keep everything going, but just to be patient and, just kind of find a way to put my name out there a little sooner than I kind of the later time that I kind of took the time to do it. I would have told myself to slow down to kind of focus on building a customer base.
Why, before I go to Jim, why do you stay in BNI? That's for you, Ernest.
Why do I stay in BNI?
How many years have you been in BNI?
I started BNI in 2017.
Okay.
BNI has been, BNI has been nothing short of a blessing for me. To me, it's like business school. So any questions you have about going into business, from the legal part of it to insurance to building a staff, BNI has just, and accountability. BNI has just been like business school for me. And depending on how serious you take it, it's just, I learn something every day I'm in there. Every week I'm in there, I learn something new. And and I like that. So BNI is great for me on that. And then the relationships. You get to be around these people once a week. So that's 52 weeks. We only get, I think, 2 weeks off out of a year. So you with them quite a bit. So you build friendships, and then they introduce you to some of the contracts we got from BNI. I can't even explain. It's been great for us.
Yeah, I never heard it phrased like that, which makes sense. That 50 weeks out of the year, you're with other business people that you have a question about a certain thing. You go, hey, Jim, what about this? How did you handle this situation? Because you're there and you have a relationship, Jim's going to share. But if you try to call somebody up and say, hey, Jim, hey, can I tap your brain for some information? It's going to be different than because you're there in the room, and then you can fill yourself with wisdom, not just information. So, Jim, what do you say? Have you seen a similar effect where you're sitting in the room with 70 people that are all in business? Do you see it as kind of a school of learning?
Yeah, absolutely. And for people, again, not always, but I sometimes forget that somebody watching may not know what we're talking about. BNI stands for Business Networking International, started in 1984 by Dr. Ivan Meisner, who's still very active in the organization. Networking chapters all over the world. BNI is a closed networking group, meaning that there's only one HVAC company in that room. There's only one commercial cleaner in that room. There's only one painter, one business attorney, and so on, which means you have protected seats as opposed to going to a chamber meeting where you can have 3 HVAC guys and 3 commercial cleaners. In that room, I look at it like we're there to help each other. We're there to feed each other. And you have an allegiance towards the people in the room to help them and to try to find them business. And that's really what it is. You've got an extended sales force. And it works well because, again, the way I do it, I'm not just going to refer Ernest to one of my clients. I'm going to say, or anybody, I'm going to say, I have a friend in the HVAC business. And I do it that way because they're much more likely to want to talk to Ernest if he's a friend of mine, and he kind of is. I mean, it's like we're not going to ball games together and all that stuff, but we are friends, right? And I feel that way because they feel the same way, and we all help each other out. It helps you to position yourself as an expert in your field. And when you can do that, then you're not chasing after, or you're not cold calling. You're getting people coming to you. And that's what you want. That's what you want in any business.
My next question, I want you both to comment on it, is I heard a podcast and I was listening to it, and the guy was talking about relationships, and he said that some of the challenging things out, we're so busy, we've forgotten about how to cultivate them. And he said that the average person now can only say they have one or two friends, real friends. Now, you're every week in the same room with 70 people. Do you feel that that has given you the ability to have more friends, quote unquote, that you have a relationship with? What would you say to that, Ernest? Like, do you feel you have more relationships than somebody that wasn't involved in a intentional networking environment?
Well, when you use the word friends, you gotta kind of be careful with that word. But I'll say this as far as friends. Um, being with these people on a weekly basis, probably see them a lot more than you may see your friends, initial friends. So, is there a friendship? I like to think of it as more of definitely a friendship there. I like to think of it as more of a family,
Mm-hmm.
because one big thing I love about the networking group is the accountability part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You say, hey, I got a friend that's in commercial cleaning, right? So I refer Jim over, and something happens or something like that, and they come back to me. I can come to Jim directly and be like, hey, they said this, that, and the other, as opposed to it getting out of control. We can control it. You know what I mean? So I think of it. It's more. It's just like it's a family. So there is a friendship aspect to it, but there is a family. Like, when things happen in there, we get together. We'll run food trains. We'll take donations for different things. We give back to the community. We sponsor a school. Everybody is more hands on than anything, but it's really a good family base. And then I guess they are friends if you ask that.
That's good. I mean, I like how you phrase that. So, Jim, I want to get to the next question, but I want you to answer that one. The next question is that mentoring aspect. I think we were on right before, and you said I have an opportunity to mentor a new member. But before we go to that question of just mentoring, what would you say about that room and your friendship aspect of it? Do you feel like you have an unfair advantage over somebody that's intentionally not in that environment in business?
I wouldn't call it unfair because we've all worked for
Yeah.
it. Right? So Ernest has put in since 2017. I joined BNI in 2014. It's something that we've worked at, like Ernest said, month after week after week after week, year after year, that we've put our time into this, and time is your most precious asset, isn't it? Right? So
Yep.
we have earned that. Let's talk about the word friend. I mean, it's not the same as when you're a kid. I'm not knocking on Ernest's door and saying, "Can Ernest come out to play?" It's not the same thing. It's a business friendship, and yes, sometimes you can develop deeper friendships, and that happens. But it's a business relationship, business friendship. I'm not kidding when I say that to people. I say it because I believe it's true. If I don't feel it's true, I don't use it. I don't say it. But it also holds more clout, right? So that's the way I see it. I mean, yeah, we all go to battle together, and I feel an obligation to feed the people in the room. So if like we have an auto mechanic in the room, and Mike's been in BNI longer than both Ernest and I, and he deserves your referrals unless he does something to ruin that, and he doesn't. So, all right. So you want me to get into the mentoring thing?
Yeah. To explain to our viewers, like, I know because why you're in that role, but explain what that means that you'll be meeting with somebody and give them an idea of what that mentoring is about.
So BNI has very tried and true. What am I trying to say? Not rules, but a way, a plan, a blueprint of how to be successful in the group. And when a new person comes in, see, when I joined, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but when I joined in 2014, I was not in this group. I was in a different BNI chapter, and it wasn't run quite the same way. And nobody mentored me. Nobody told me anything. It's kind of like when I started in business, I had to figure it out on my own. But the Smyrna group that we're in, Smyrna Business Exchange, we do it the right way. And like Ernest said, there's accountability. But, you know, it's funny because I'm going to be mentoring a new member today at 1. And this is kind of, if you can see that, this is kind of what it looks like. I printed it out. And it has specific, it's a guideline on things that I want to help this new member with and show him the best way, the best pathway to the quickest success he can have in the group. There's things you do in BNI, there's things you don't do. All right. And that's all. It's just talking to him, asking if he has it. Then after that, asking if he has any questions. And then as a mentor, it's also sort of a lifelong BNI thing, as long as he's in the group and I'm in the group, where he knows and he will know that anytime, even after this mentoring thing is over, it's 8 sessions, that he can come to me and ask me questions anytime. So that's really what it is. We don't want people coming into the chapter and then floundering because they either don't know or don't understand the rules. You can't expect somebody to follow the rules if they don't know what they are. And again, rules is a harsh word. They're not rules. They're simple things to do. That's all. And if you do it, it works.
I think, you know, I agree with you. It's not rule. I think it's systems and processes.
Yeah.
It's a system that has been successful. That's why they're all over the world. And it's a process where we're going to bring you in. We're going to mentor you. We're going to teach you. No, you don't email everybody in the group. That's a taker's mentality. You want to think givers. How can I say, oh, Jim, I have a guy that I know very well. Would you want me to introduce you to him because he runs a business that's similar to what you told me you like to focus on? And it's that kind of giving that stands out versus, hey, Jim, what do you have for me? You know, what do you have for me this week? Right. That's not how it works. So I want to be respectful of your time. So, Ernest, I want you to, as we close down a little bit, first off, I have one more question, but tell our viewers, how can they get a hold of you?
You guys can reach me. You can either give us a call. Our number, Peter just posted our number, 404-717-2963. You can go to our website, which would be www.elmhvac.com, where you could, there's actually a submission form on that page that you could, if for some reason you can't reach us on the phone, you can go to the website and there's a submission form that'll come directly into the office that we'll get immediately. And then someone will get back to you on that. Or you can email us at support, that's SUPPORT, support@elmhvac.com. So those are 3 ways that you can reach us, and we'll get to you in a very timely fashion.
All right, I'm going to give you a heads up while Jim's giving his information. I want you to be thinking the one thing that you'd want our viewers to take home from our time on this podcast. And Jim, while Ernest is thinking of that one thing, tell our viewers, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so there's my phone number, 404-309-6093. That is my cell phone. If I don't answer, you will get a call back pretty quick. There's my email, Jim@Ridley. It's RIDDLEYLLC.com. Same as Ernest, we got a website. There's a submission page on that. You can send that in. If you Google my name or my company, you're going to find me pretty easily. And that's really, or you can stop by my office. We're on Shiloh Road in Kennesaw. Anyway, it's not really the kind of business people walk in, but you're welcome to walk in.
Awesome. Yeah, I know you have that welcoming personality. So I want to encourage our viewers, share this video, especially if somebody is younger, starting out in business. They've never heard of maybe B&I. They don't know what it's about. You want to be in a system that allow you, like Ernest said, it's like a business school. You're going to learn from other business owners. You're going to build relationships, and you're going to be accountable because you're showing up every week to develop those relationships. So share this with people you know, because I've had two people. Now, he hasn't come yet, but I said, have you ever heard of B&I? No, I don't know. I never heard of it. And we kind of think that, yeah, everybody's heard of it, but no, they don't. It's just like we're busy and we're starting out and we don't realize that a system is out there that can help you grow your business. So, Ernest, as we wind down, what would be the one thing you would want our viewers to take home from our podcast time?
One thing, well, so I'll say this. So we're in Georgia. We're in the southern part of the country. So it's this hottest down here, and you get all kinds of HVAC companies. Everybody thinks that they can pretty much, even your do-it-yourselfers, they think they can fix their own thing. But what I kind of pride Elm HVAC on is the honesty of it. Everything doesn't need to be replaced. I mean, if there's a repair, then there's a repair. But there's enough to go around for everybody. And if you Google Elm HVAC, if you read our reviews, that's probably one of the reviews that we get the most is the honesty of it. If you give us a call, we're gonna come out there and we're just gonna be honest with you about it. And for the most part, even if you get a second opinion, if you don't like the price of things, they're gonna tell you the exact same thing that we told you. So we pride ourselves on just kind of being honest about it and just giving you the best advice that we can.
That's awesome. Jim, what would be the one thing you want our viewers to take home?
Well, it's not about us with this. The thing that I would like for everybody to take out of this, if there's one thing, is Ernest's, the way he caters to the older folks, let's say, and I'm in that older folk group, right? So one of the things he said recently at B&I was he talked about changing the filters often in your system. And I know, Pete, you cater a lot to seniors. And a lot of times it's really difficult for seniors to do this.
Yep.
To just say, I don't know, and he can tell you if I'm right on this, at least twice a year to be changing, maybe it's more often, to be changing those filters. And that's a simple thing you can do to keep your system running properly. And a lot of people don't do it. So I'd say, and I know Ernest, I'd like maybe give him another minute to talk about his service plan, where he can get somebody on that plan, and then they can have a little peace of mind. They don't have to worry about it. So that's what I'd like them to take away from it, is that Elm HVAC does that kind of service.
Yeah, I totally agree with the senior thing. I mean, we don't want to be crawling up in the attic at 70 years old trying to fix or change our air filter. I'm not a do-it-yourself kind of guy. I think the do-it-yourselfers get into trouble because, you know what, do what you do best and outsource the rest. Because, you could be. We had a guy fall through the roof because he was in the attic, stepped the wrong place, and his foot went right through the ceiling. And so when you do that, you think, oh, I'm going to save $15, and now you've just created a mess because you wanted to be a do-it-yourselfer. Yeah, I think YouTube videos have really hurt our people because everybody thinks they can be an expert if they watch a YouTube video. It's kind of crazy, but it is. Let me give a commercial break because we got to pay.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Give Ernest a minute to talk about that.
Yeah, and thanks, Jim.
Okay. All right.
A lot of we get a lot of customers that are older. Our seniors that have lived and made it to this point in life that just can't get to their systems and do filter change. So we do offer maintenance plans to help come out there with that. You'd be surprised how many customers who have they don't even know where their system is. and you do more damage to it by not letting anyone take a look at it. So with our maintenance plans, you get 2 visits a year. You get mandatory service, 24-hour turnaround service. You get a discount on repairs. And one of the things is we like to help the community, especially our elder customers, the ones who haven't been able to filter change and things of that nature, and who don't know what things are. So we come in and help you guys out as we move forward. And actually, another thing I wanted to say was, as people are moving into this summer season, they're buying a lot of new homes. You may get you a home inspection, but it's very important that you get an HVAC inspection added to that home inspection, because your home inspector cannot check your HVAC equipment. We see it all the time that they buy these homes with these damaged HVAC, and then you have inherited someone else's old problems. So that's a good thing that Elm HVAC has.
Hey, I got an idea, Ernest. You know how many? There's 800,000 people in Cobb County. How many of them do you think are seniors? I'm going to ask you first, and then Jim, I want you to give your 2 cents. How many seniors are in Cobb County?
Out of 800,000?
Yep.
Let me throw this out there. Maybe 60% of them are.
What would be that number? I'm not a math guy. 60%.
There would be probably about 550,000 of them.
So half of them you think are seniors?
Probably a little more than half.
Okay, Jim, you're a senior, so tell Ernest.
Yes,
Tell Ernest we're not old. We're not all old. Okay.
Are you talking senior to get a discount on your coffee at McDonald's, or you're talking senior to be like in the home?
65.
I mean, 65. Okay,
65?
so I qualify. I'm 65.
65.
Look, I would say it's probably around 50-50. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think 400,000 and Ernest thinks 480.
No, it's okay, whatever. Yeah. Okay, what is it?
100,000.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, what do you guys think? We're like old folks dominating?
That's a different question, Pete.
Well, it was a trick question, though.
Yes,
I
it
know.
is. I had a person tell me that from the senior center, and I was going, I didn't know, really.
See, Ernest is talking about helping the seniors, and then you came out with that question, so I thought it was going to be a big fat number.
Yeah, it was a setup. I set you up because
you did.
Hey, I just want to embarrass you on the podcast. That's all.
That's right. I don't embarrass easily.
Hey, now you know it's 100,000. Okay, now, Ernest, you can definitely come back. We'll talk more in depth about it, but Jim's riding you on this one. Okay, guys, this is where we advertise. So coming up next Wednesday, the 22nd, comedy, clean comedy. We want our adult children to hang out with their mom and dad, laugh, have a good time. Tickets are $15. You buy groups of 10, you can get them for as little as $10. But come on out. We're going to have light hors d'oeuvres. You're going to be able to laugh your head off. Scan this QR code if you want to. If you're having a bad day out there, scan this QR code and you will laugh until it hurts. So that's our commercial. I want you guys pass this off to people that'll help bring comedy to our seniors, because unfortunately our seniors, everybody needs comedy, but our seniors, we can definitely laugh a little bit harder. So I want to thank you guys for being on the podcast, and thank you so much for being flexible, because I was out visiting with my seniors when I got delayed. So thank you guys. Have an awesome day, and we appreciate you being with our community and sharing some of your insights.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Take care of yourself.
Bye.